Are you able to listen to me? Someone type. So today we are going to discuss about nutrition basics. So this is the basis for taking nutrition history in pediatrics. As you know, nutrition history is very important in pediatrics because we are going to deal with a lot of conditions with nutritional disorders. So nutrition history is very important in pediatrics. Okay, so let's start with the basis of nutrition. So there are two types of nutrients. One is macro, another one is micro. So basically we are eating all type of nutrients to get three benefits. What are the three benefits? The three benefits are either we should produce the nutrient should produce energy, that is energy yielding nutrition, then body building nutrition, then protective nutrition. So there are three major nutrients, three major benefits from nutrients, that is energy yielding, body building, and protective nutrients. So energy yielding nutrients are carbohydrates and fats. They will give energy, and body building nutrient is protein that will give both energy and body building mechanisms. But in general, protein will not give energy in normal situations. Though protein can give, each gram of protein can give 4 kilocalories of energy. In normal situation, it will not be utilized to give energy. It will be utilized for bodybuilding only. Only carbohydrate and fat will give energy. As you know, 1 gram of carbohydrate will give 4 kilocalories. 1 gram of protein will give 4 kilocalories, and 1 gram of fat will give around 9 kilocalories. So fat is the energy dense substance which will give more energy for a given amount of substance. So we got three macronutrients, that is carbohydrate, protein, and fat. So carbohydrate and protein will give 4 kilocalories and fat will give 9 kilocalories. So this is carbohydrate and fat are energy yielding nutrients, and protein is the bodybuilding nutrient. And yet another important nutrient that is called as micronutrients. These are all protective nutrients. So what is the meaning of hidden hunger? Hunger, we know what is the meaning of hidden hunger. So hidden hunger is deficiency of micronutrients. So generally we will be taking all sort of nutrients, but we fail to take micronutrients, or we may not notice the deficiency of micronutrients in our body. This is called as hidden hunger. So what is micronutrients? Vitamins and minerals are the micronutrients. We got 13 vitamins and lot of minerals. What are the 13 vitamins? Vitamins can be grouped into two categories, that is water soluble and fat soluble. Under the water soluble, you got vitamin B complex and vitamin C. Under the fat soluble, you got A, D, E, K. So among the water soluble vitamins, vitamin B complex comprises of 8 vitamins plus 1 vitamin C. So these 9 vitamins are water soluble and 4 vitamins are fat soluble. Totally we have 13 vitamins. So vitamins plus minerals are micronutrients. Carbohydrate, fat and protein are macronutrients. So we require macronutrients, micronutrients, water, fiber, in our food. So these are all the major constituents of our food. Macros, 3 macros, 2 micros, water plus fiber. So fiber is also a carbohydrate, but it is not digested by our body. So it's a non-digestible carbohydrate. So it comes under carbohydrate, but it's a different entity. It will not give energy. It will not give energy to our body, but it's very important for the normal functioning of body. So fiber is a yet another carbohydrate which is not digested by our body. There are two types of fiber, soluble and insoluble fiber. Both are not digested by our body. The name fiber is a misnomer. So it's a misnomer. It will not mimic a structure like fiber, but it's a carbohydrate with which cannot be digested by our human digestive systems. Animals can digest the fibers like cellulose, pectin, lignin. Other substances can be digested by animals, but human cannot digest the substances. So coming to the carbohydrates. So carbohydrates, we are taking lot of carbohydrates in our food. Why? We are taking in the morning, afternoon, night. Most of the food is from carbohydrate. Why? Because carbohydrate is very cheap and easily available. That's why we are taking a lot of carbohydrates that will tend to raise the blood sugar level. So after eating a small meal or medium meal, the blood sugar will spike after half an hour to 1.5 hours. Then it will come down after the action of insulin. Like that, if you take a large meal, then it will take longer time to come down. So after each and every meal, the glucose will spike because of the glucose mechanism, which is not developed that much to keep the sugar in euglycemic range in our body. So carbohydrate can be classified into monosaccharides, polysaccharides. Monosaccharide, it comes and monosaccharide has is are called as simple sugars, and polysaccharide are complex sugars. So carbohydrate mechanism, there are essential amino acids, there are essential fatty acids, there are essential vitamins, but there are no essential carbohydrates because our body has got a mechanism to produce glucose either through glycogenolysis or gluconeogenesis. It can produce glucose in our body, even though if you are not taking glucose in our food, it can synthesize from amino acids, fatty acids, and glycogen. So even though we are taking a lot of carbohydrate, it's not an essential substitutes in our food, but we have to take around 50 to 60% in our food. The remaining part comes protein and fat. Protein should take around 20% and fat 15 to 20%. So 60% should be from carbohydrate, 20% from protein, and 20% from fat. Fat is an energy dense substance, so it will produce more energy with a small quantity. So this concept you should remember while taking nutrition history, while replacing the calorie. So if the child is deficient of calorie, we should try to replace with the fat first. We can add ghee or oil in the food, so you can increase the calorie intake of the child. So there are essential amino acids. What do you mean by essential substance? Essential means your body cannot synthesize the substance and you have to take it from the outside. So there are 8 essential amino acids you can remember by the mnemonic private Tim Hall. So I have shared the slides. You can read in the slides. So essential amino acids cannot be synthesized in our body. We have to take it from outside. That is, you have to take it from the food. And two semi-essential amino acids are there that can be synthesized in our body. Remaining amino acids, there are 24 amino acids needed for our body synthesis and mechanism. Remaining amino acids can be synthesized or produced from our body. The 8 amino acids which cannot be synthesized are called as essential amino acids. So protein is very important for three functions. One is to produce amino acids, to produce body mechanisms, then to produce enzymes and antibodies. So protein has got three important functions. One is building the body, number one. Number two is to produce enzymes. All the enzymes require proteins. Number three is for the synthesis of amino acids, enzymes, and antibodies. So antibodies are immunoglobulins, which are proteins. So protein in normal situation, the protein will be utilized for three functions only. In catabolic state, in starvation, only the protein will be utilized to produce energy. Then only the protein, 1 gram of protein will be cleaved to produce 4 kilocalories. So normally, generally, protein will not be utilized to produce energy. That's why in PEM, protein energy malnutrition, or SAM child, we have to elicit the history of calorie deficit and protein deficit separately. So calorie and protein are different entities in case of if you are dealing with the SAM child, that is severe acute malnutrition, because you have to count both the calorie and the protein. So there should not be any calorie gap, there should not be any protein gap. Protein and calorie are different entity while we are taking history in case of protein energy malnutrition. So fatty acids. Fatty acids, as you know, there are three essential fatty acids. These three essential fatty acids cannot be synthesized in our body. We have to get it from outside of the body. And these fatty acids are rich in animal products. Most of the animal products contain lot of fatty acids, and you have to take it from either animal source or we have to take it from supplements. So regarding the uh, calories, there are some calories: positive calorie, negative calorie, and empty calories. What do you mean by positive calorie? Any food which will give calorie is a positive calorie. Any food which absorbs calorie from body, so body has to spend some amount of calorie to produce, to digest the food, that is called as negative calorie. And empty calories, any substance like coke or any new uh, sugar containing food which contains only sugar without any vitamins and minerals is called as empty calories. That is refined sugar. They can provide calories, but they cannot contain vitamins and minerals and fibers. So, ideal substance or ideal food should contain calorie, vitamin, mineral, fiber. Four important constituents: vitamins, minerals or micronutrients, calorie through macronutrient, plus fiber. So without fiber, without microminerals, without vitamins, this is called as empty calories. So we should try to avoid empty calories. As you said earlier, fiber is a complex carbohydrate. It's a carbohydrate, but we cannot digest the fiber. So fiber does three important functions. It starts with the B. So three B's. One is bulk. The food bulk is formed by fibers, so that will help to relieve the constipation. Then fiber will prevent the colonic cancer. So the stays food will stay for a small duration in our colon, so that will prevent the colonic cancer. So fiber is very important to prevent colon cancer. Then it will bind with the bile salt, so cholesterol reabsorption, that is enterohepatic circulation, is prevented. If you are taking lot of fatty substance, you have to take fibers because it will prevent the reabsorption of the biles. Bile is a alkaline substance. Any alkaline substance in our gut wall is carcinogenic. If alkaline substance stays for longer duration in our gut wall, it will produce cancer. So acidic substance will produce ulcers and alkaline substance will produce cancerous lesion. That's why after taking a fatty meal, after taking a heavy fatty meal, you have to take lot of fiber. So fiber will prevent fiber will prevent bind with the bile and it will prevent the enterohepatic circulation. So by two mechanisms, fiber will prevent colonic cancer. Number one, it will form the bulk of the stool. It will cause the movement of the stool. It will prevent constipation. Number two, it will bind with the cholesterol and bile. So it prevents the cancer forming substances, carcinogens. So especially after taking non-veg food, lot of nitrosamines will be formed in our gut. Nitrosamines are precancerous substances, carcinogens that will cause cancer in our body. So while taking non-veg food or any oily food or any fatty food, fat is the main substance for the increased bile secretion. Fat will stimulate the cholecystokinin and other substances that will produce lot of bile. So constipation is one of the cause for colonic cancer. Bile will prevent the constipation. Bile will prevent the bile. I mean, fiber will prevent the bile formation. So it will prevent the cancer. Second one is it will reduce the blood sugar. It contains a lot of pectin and gums that will bind with the sugar and it will reduce the blood sugar spikes. Fiber will reduce the blood sugar spike. That's why fibers are used in the blood sugar reduction and cholesterol reduction. So what is the daily requirement of fiber in a human? So it's around 40 gram per day for adult, around 200 to 300 milligram per kg per day for kids. This is the fiber requirement. As I said earlier, there are positive calorie, there are negative calories and zero calorie. So negative calorie is otherwise called as specific dynamic action, SDA. So this is called as SDA or TEF, that is thermic effect of food. If you are consuming some food, the food will take some energy from our body for the digestion and assimilation in our body. This is called as SDA or specific dynamic action. Carbohydrate and fat will take 5% and protein has got a high amount of SDA or TEF. Protein has got 29% of SDA. That is, you have to spend lot of energy to digest the protein and utilize the protein. That is called as SDA or negative calorie. So protein, what do you mean by protein? Protein means protea means prime importance. As the name implies, it's very important for the synthesis of enzymes, hormones, and antibodies and bodybuilding. So all the hormones are synthesized from cholesterol and proteins. Most of the sex hormones are synthesized from cholesterol and protein. Mm, Especially vitamin D is synthesized from cholesterol. As you know, is a de novo pathway. It is synthesized from cholesterol. So amino acids, there are 24 amino acids of which 8 are essential. You can remember by private Tim Hall, that is phenylalanine, valine, threonine, private, tryptophan, isoleucine, methionine, histidine, arginine, leucine and lysine. So what do you mean by reference protein or ideal protein? Any protein which contains all essential amino acid is a reference protein. We eat lot of vegetable protein and animal protein. Vegetable proteins are lacking one or two amino acids. They are not reference protein. Only egg qualifies the quality of reference protein because egg contains all the 8 essential amino acids. Yet another substance is mother's milk. Mother's milk and egg contains all the essential amino acids. So this is called as reference protein. We compare with the other protein with this reference protein. So what is the limiting amino acid in cereal? Cereal has got a limiting amino acid as lysine. That is, lysine is deficient in cereal and methionine is deficient in legumes or pulses. So we have to combine both cereals and pulses to get the benefit of it. So we are combining cereals and pulses in most of the vegetarian to meet the reference protein range, to meet the complete protein range. But animal protein already have all the essential amino acids in it. So next comes, can we eat raw vegetarian? That is raw veg protein such as beans, pulse and peanuts, groundnuts. What are the health, that is inhibitors, that is some anti-nutrients. The food contains, some of the food contain anti-nutrients, that is, that will inhibit the digestive process. For example, all the legumes and pulses have anti-chymotrypsin and anti-chymotrypsin that will inhibit the chymotrypsin enzyme. That's why we have to soak for few hours and we have to boil, we have to fry and we have to germinate. So soaking in water, boiling in water or frying or germinating. Germination will remove the anti-nutrient substance in from the uh, pulses and legumes. So next, can we eat raw eggs? No, you should not eat raw eggs because it contains a substance called avidin that will inhibit the absorption of biotin. So severe biotin deficiency will occur if you give raw egg to the babies. So raw egg should be avoided in babies. Also raw milk, you should not give raw milk because raw milk can produce brucellosis and other salmonella shigellosis. So raw egg also should be avoided. So you should remember about the inhibitors while preparing the food. So you should not give raw legumes and pulses. It should be always soaked, fried, boiled or germinated only you should give. Also, you should not give raw milk and raw egg. Yet another substance is called as lectins. Lectins are also present in pulses and grains. That lectin also a inhibitory substance that can cause lot of problems, abdominal pain, cramps. So how will you differentiate grains and pulses and legumes? Grains are basically from plants such as grass. Grass-like substance will produce grains. Rice, maize, wheat, barley, oats are grains. They will be monocotyledons or grass-like substance. And pulses and legumes are dicotyledons. They are like a plant, shrub, or bushes. So, what are a gluten food? Gluten also very important in Western countries, but in our area we are not getting lot of gluten sensitivity. There are four substances, four uh, grains which are rich in gluten. That is wheat, barley, rye, oats. We should remember four substances which are rich in gluten. Gluten is a glue-like substance which will cause lot of wheat, barley, rye, oats. So while preparing the food, you should avoid these substances if the child is having irritable bowel syndrome or bowel problem or any chronic illnesses or any chronic allergy conditions, you should avoid these substances. So you should lectin and leptin are different entities. Leptin is a hormone which is responsible for obesity. Lectin is a substance which is present in the pulses and legumes which causes lot of allergic reaction in our gut and skin. So you should differentiate leptin and lectin. So next we'll discuss about fat. Fat is also a misnomer. You should not call as a fat. Fat implies a person or any substance which is plump. So it's fat is a misnomer. Lipid is the correct terminology to uh, describe about the substances. So fats are energy dense substances. They provide essential amino acids. They provide energy. Actually fats are underrated food molecules, so it can be further classified into saturated and unsaturated. You can remember any substance which is solid is saturated. Solid substance is saturated like butter, animal fat, sometimes palm oil. These are all saturated fats. They are stable in room temperature, solid in room temperature. Unsaturated fat contains double bonds in carbon atom. There are two types: monounsaturated fatty acid and polyunsaturated fatty acid. Unsaturated fatty acids are good for heart. They have got a cardioprotective effect. And essential fatty acids means this is otherwise called as vitamin F or quinine vitamin. So linoleic acid and linoleic acid is you got omega 6 and omega 3. So the composition should be omega 6 to omega 3 should be 5 is to 1. As you know, omega 6 is pro-inflammatory fatty acid and omega 3 is anti-inflammatory. If you have more of omega 6 to omega 3, that is the composition should be between 5 is to 1. Omega 6 should be 5 times and omega 3 should be 1 time. So high omega 6 to omega 3 lead to lot of disease like free radical injury, angiotaxic, and impaired immune function, increased platelet aggregation that can lead to cardiac problems, many endovascular injury. So omega 3 fall under the category of polyunsaturated fatty acid. There are three main types of omega 3, that is DHA, EPA, and ALA. DHA is docosahexaenoic acid that is present in mother's milk, fish, and algae. EPA that is present in fish, cod liver oil, and salmon like fish, sardines. And ALA, alpha linoleic acid, that is present rich in flaxseed and walnuts. This is present in vegetarian food, all ALA, and both DHA and EPA present in non-veg plus algae. So omega 3 is very important for preventing the inflammation. Omega 3 is anti-inflammatory, heart healthy, PUFA, and omega 6 is pro-inflammatory. Omega 6 also is needed for the inflammatory process, but the proportion should be 6 5 is to 1. You should not increase more than 5 is to 1. That can produce lot of diseases. So macronutrients is over. Next, micronutrients. As you know, micronutrients can be further classified into vitamins and minerals. Will be taken in a different class. We will discuss about minerals. So minerals are the substances which is required in small quantity, but they will do a lot of bigger works. Like if you see chromium is a small chromium is needed in a small amount, but it's very important for the insulin function. Zinc also needed in small quantity, but it does lot of work. So minerals are small substances. They do lot of large works. They are very important in some enzyme steps. Some enzyme steps cannot function without the help of the minerals. So there are 109 well characterized elements. 14 trace elements are very important. That is essential for growth and function. So trace elements list is given in the PowerPoint presentation. So let's see one by one. So iron, as you know, it's very important for the synthesis of hemoglobin and RBC. Iron is also very important for other enzymes and other substances, catalase, peroxidase. So daily requirement is around 20 milligram per kg. Treatment of iron deficiency will give 3 to 6 milligram per kg per day. We should give for at least 2 to 3 months because the iron stores should be replenished. So vitamin C, what are the substances which will promote or increase the absorption of iron? Vitamin C will increase the absorption of iron. Cobalt will increase the absorption of iron. And some substances like tea, tannic acid, and other substances will reduce the absorption of iron. Vitamin toxicity. Iron toxicity is more common in pediatric age group because while giving antenatal mother, we are giving for 100 days, and child are attracted to take the iron tablets, then they will swallow. So when you will get the toxicity, if the limit goes above 1800 milligram, it can produce toxicity. So iodine, copper, and other substances are also important. So regarding the diets, if you are giving any diet, if you are prescribing any diet, you should know about some of the diets like Atkins diet, Duncan diet, Mayo Clinic diet, GM, General Motor diet, and Mediterranean diet, LCHF, Paleo diet. These are all diets prescribed for adult. In pediatric, we are not prescribing or we are not giving any diet, but we will advise regarding the bridging the gap between calorie and protein. So there are five or four revolution in the nutrition. That is green revolution. Initially started with the grains, producing lot of grains is called as green revolution. White revolution is producing lot of milk. We are producing lot of milk, that is called as white revolution. Blue revolution is producing lot of seafood and rainbow. Right now we are moving towards rainbow, that is eating all the colored food, not artificial colors, natural colors. You should take all the red fruit, orange fruit, yellow fruit, green leafy vegetables which is rich in folic acid, and blue and purple. They contain lot of anthocyanin which are anti cancer properties. Any blue fruit or blue substance will fight against cancer, and white, that is called cell natural white substance can kill natural killer cells. This is okay. This is called as rainbow diet. So we are prescribing instead of food pyramid, we are advising to take food plate with a balanced diet. Nowadays, we are not advising the food pyramid. We are advising the food plate with all the colored food in the plate. We have to increase the number of milk, number of fruits and vegetables. So this is the basis of nutrition. You should read about macronutrients and micronutrients, importance of micronutrients in your day-to-day life. Then how to calculate the calorie and how how to write the uh, food chart for each age. So you can divide into up to 1 year, 1 to 3 year, 3 to 5 years, like newborn period, infancy, toddler, school aging, and preschool and school age. So pediatrics is divided into neonatal period, that is 0 to 28 days. Neonatal period is further classified into early neonate and late neonate. Early neonate is 7 days and late neonate is beyond 7 days. And infancy up to 1 year, toddler 1 to 3 years, preschool children 3 to 5 years, school going children 5 to 12 years or 6 to 12 years. So you have to divide the pediatrics into different five categories and you have to write the nutritional requirements and you have to prepare the chart so you can easily take the history. Most of the time in pediatrics will be discussed more on nutrition because pediatrics is based on growth and development. Growth is from nutrition, development is from milestone development and other things. So thank you. I see one. Okay, thank you. It's a trial class. We'll come with the next class. Thank you. And leave your comments about the class and give your feedback here. Thank you.